it's all going to be okay in the end. And if it's not okay, it's not the end. The beginning and the end, there's only love. And everything else in the middle is just an illusion. I choose to be the type of human being who loves her fucking life. I create my own reality.
Who do I choose to be?
Yeah.
Right? I just made this choice that's causing me this much pain. So who do I choose to be now?
Yeah.
Today, it is my outrageous honor to introduce Suzy Ashworth. She is a serial entrepreneur, an international keynote speaker, and a Sunday Times best-selling author of the book Infinite Receiving. You are going to hear in this interview how she really transitioned, how she tapped into infinite potentiality and has shifted into building an 8-figure brand.
The journey of manifestation is the point, not the end destination. It's who I am becoming.
Why isn't everyone embracing the power of the pivot?
I think what I really want to say to everybody is that
Already I can tune to the coherence and magnetism and power of your field. I love feeling how much access you have to both the cosmic field and the terrestrial field. I'm tuning my energy into yours of the way that you bridge those realms. Your outrageous grounded magnetic power and your infinite funnel of receptivity and pleasure. Breathing into that, imagining a cord between our hearts, between our bodies, getting bigger with each inhale, creating more coherence, more connection, more love. Ooh. Feeling the toroidal field connecting us to the celestial and the terrestrial, and that field of love getting bigger and bigger and bigger so that they actually envelop each other even across the Atlantic Ocean. So that each of our portals of pleasure and magnetism and receptivity amplify each other. Remembering ourselves as vessels and channels. Taking a moment to celebrate the slideshow of memories that we've created together in these bodies as Emily and Suzy. From hot tubs in Costa Rica to business meetings to coaching sessions to voice notes to outfit selections, into all the memories that are on the way, tuning into all the memories we created even before these bodies, before this incarnation. Giving thanks to the ultimate creatrix for letting us find each other again in this lifetime. Filling up our bodies with so much gratitude for what is, gratitude for what is on the way. Calling in our inner children, our inner elders, spirit of the land where we live, actively calling on Isis, Mary Magdalene, Yeshua, Lakshmi, Hathor, any other guides or unseen realms that want to support this conversation, and offering up the prayer that this conversation is not only fun and brilliant and charged, but that we receive the medicine that we're meant to receive, and that this conversation provides the exact medicine that every single listener is ready for, no more, no less, for theirs, for ours, and for the collective's highest good. Any other prayers you want to offer into the field, Suzy?
yeah, just really leaning into allowing space for deep truth, deeper authenticity, a real clear and clean container where the energy gets to overflow and do its work. That's it.
And so it is, and so it is, and so it is.
And so it is.
Ours and everyone's highest good.
Thank you. Mm.
Oh, Suzy Ashworth, I'm so grateful to get to have you on the show, to
Mm.
get to deepen with you, to get to swim in your brilliance and your audacity and your magnetism and your receptivity, and to share your unique flavor of magic with anyone in this audience that may not have heard of you yet. I like to I don't think I've ever done this, but I'd like to explicitly start with a wowing session. I
Oh.
learned I learned wowing from our mutual friend Layla Martin. It's basically like a word bath, but I start with wow. And I feel like it's a fun way for people to get to know you way better than reading your bio.
Mhm.
So wow, Suzy Ashworth. Rarely have I ever seen a human being that has the combination of brilliance and full oracular wisdom combined with the cutting edge of hotness. Like you're a full-blown, full-time pop star rocking it from stage with outrageous outfits, design, making your whole body a piece of
Mm.
art. Wow, Suzy
Mm.
Ashworth, the fact that you are a mother of 3? 3
Mm.
children?
Yeah.
A single mom of 3 children running a multiple seven-figure business.
Mm.
Wow. Suzy, the fact that you've done all of this coming from beyond humble beginnings, the
Mhm.
level of belief in yourself and the level of connection to the divine that it must have taken for you to have achieved what you have achieved is awe-inspiring, to say the least. Wow, Suzy, the fact that you do all of this and still manage to have plenty of time for your friends and for me and to leave beautiful voice notes and to desire deeper friendship and connection. Wow, Suzy, the
Mm.
fact that you're like you could basically be a full-time professional pole dancer at like I don't know how old you are. You could be like 100 or 22, I don't know. Wow, and also, Suzy, the fact that your book, not being a doctor, not being a
Mm.
famous celebrity, made it to the UK, to the London Times bestseller list, even after your pub week, is nothing short of a
Mm.
miracle. Wow, Suzy, the way that you have named and claimed that, like, this year is gonna be my rocket ship year, and then it has
Mm.
been, despite
Mm.
all the external factors. Wow, Suzy, your perceptivity, the fact that you can just like drop in and speak exactly to the core of what someone is experiencing is a gift that is very needed and rare on this planet. And wow, Suzy, your ability to pivot, your ability to drop what is no longer serving and bravely step into what is your new dharma is so inspiring. So thank you for being my friend. Thank you for being a coach. Thank you for being a guest on the show. Welcome to Why Isn't Everyone Doing This?
Oh my god! Thank you so much. You can't see, but I have my hands just open and receiving that beautiful wow bath of, yeah, love, actually. Thank you so much. I'm obsessed with your enthusiasm and your ability to really envelop everybody in that joy. Like when you are on, dialed in, tapped in, like that level of just, it is joy. It's pure, unadulterated joy and aliveness and love for life. You can't escape it, even if you want to, even if you want to like hide underneath the duvet, get me under the carpet. It's like, no, I'm taking you all with me. And that is testament to the community and the business and the brand that you have built. We all feel it, we all love it, and it is just electrifying to be in your space. So thank you very much for, yeah, all the love.
Ah, wow, it's a pleasure. My ex-partner, Adam, who you met, he used
Mhm.
to he initiated me as the high priestess of embodied joy, but we used to
Yeah.
joke that I would have, like, an alter ego called the Joyful Dom, and I feel like what you just spoke to, that I'm just gonna be like a full dominatrix for
Yeah.
joy. I don't even care if you like it, just get up.
Yeah.
You're gonna be joyful.
You're gonna have it and you're gonna take it.
You're gonna take this joy and you're gonna like it.
Thank
Honestly,
you.
I feel like the world needs a little bit of joy dominatrix right now. A
Yeah.
little bit of like, "Hey, everybody, like, shit's intense and your suffering
Mhm.
isn't helping."
Yeah.
So I'd love to start there to give people a window into, like, the intensity of your upbringing and now, like, your commitment to
Mm.
specifically joy and pleasure as an
Mm.
alchemical tool for receptivity, as a way to set us up for, like, why isn't everyone embracing the power of the pivot? Because it's like they're related, and I think we can thread that needle as we get there. But can you just give us
Yeah.
a window into your childhood upbringing, and then how you even discovered joy, pleasure, receptivity manifesting?
Yeah. So I was fostered at 3 months old by Nigerian parents. My parents were immigrants to the UK, and they found my foster parents at the time in the late 70s. You could privately foster children. So my foster parents were in the back of a magazine saying we kind of take kids. They found them, like the advert, and I was given to them. And when I think about that being the selection process for my parenting from the age of 3 months till 18, I'm always dumbfounded by it. Especially with somebody who has 3 children. It's like, but it was normal, and that is what they did, and I am so grateful to say.
And your parents had immigrated from where to where? Where would they moved from,
From
and where did
Nigeria to the UK, so
okay.
in London.
And then they found there was an ad of a
Yeah.
couple, a man and a woman,
Yes.
who were like, "We foster children." And were there other children in the household?
Yeah, so when, I went to them, they fostered 5 other kids, so I was the 6th child, and all
Whoa.
from African, I'm guessing Nigerian heritage, but all black kids, and my foster parents were white. And then my sister came along, so 2 and a bit years later, and in fact, it was probably 3 years later because I think they took her on when she was 1, and then the other foster kids all went back to their families, but they kept my sister and I. And so I've had this, I suppose, weird push and pull with my parents gave me away. I was chosen by my parents. My parents gave me away. I was chosen by my parents. And for whatever reason, my karma means that throughout my years, I have been able to very consciously lean into I was chosen by my parents. Oh my goodness, I have 2 sets of parents. And I remember very specifically when I was 8 years old, sat on the side of my bed thinking, God, I am really lucky to have 2 sets of parents. Now, interestingly, I was made a ward of court at 8, which is essentially like being adopted. And that meant that I didn't see my natural mother or my natural father, not that he'd been around anyway that much, from the age of 8 till 18. So,
Why did becoming a ward of court impact your relationship with your birth parents?
basically, I used to see my birth parents during, like, holidays, some weekends, and an incident happened at the house which, made meant that we were not safe, and so we went
With
through the
your
court
birth parents
system
or with the foster parents?
with my birth parents.
Okay.
So we went through the court system and, yeah, my foster parents kind of got legal custody in its entirety of my sister and I. So,
And was your sister a foster from another birth parent, or was it your birth parents had a child and she came and joined?
my birth parents had another child and she came and joined us.
Okay, so your sister is like full blood biological
Yes.
sister, and are you still in relationship with her?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Wow.
We
Uh-huh.
are great friends, and she is a massive inspiration to me. She
How did
also runs her own business, and we're very, very different. She's very introverted, I'm extroverted, but she has a relationship that she's been in for the last 26 years. Her kids are all beautiful, they're incredible, and she's just doing great things in the world, and I see it and I love it.
oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, what a gift.
So I love that. And my parents, my dad was a handyman, my mum was a cleaner, and they worked really, 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 really hard. And what we didn't have in terms of financial abundance, there was an abundance of love. And so from an early age, I was very much like, I know that you don't need money to be happy,
Mhm.
and we will always have just enough. My parents made sure that we had just enough, or they would go and ask for grants. So I had a scholarship to play the cello, and then I moved over to the flute, and they made sure that I could go to the dance that I wanted to do and do my auditions and be at athletics. They were just very there and present, and at the same time also gave me a lot of freedom. So I made a lot of mistakes, and those mistakes are now biting me in the bum when it comes to bringing up my own kids, because there's a lot of work that I have to do. And it's so interesting because you ask, when did things change? Things changed when started to change when I hit 19 and my foster mother passed away.
Mm.
And when she passed away, I felt very much like I knew everything. I didn't need anybody. I was just in a very typically teenage, but very selfish era of my life. And when my mum passed, I'd been to see her once in hospital. I'd already moved out of home. I'd moved out when I was about 16, maybe just old, just maybe a little bit older than 16. And yeah, when she passed, I wasn't there for her. And for me, it was the biggest tragedy. And also now it was the biggest gift, because at 19, to lose somebody who had been so fundamental, essentially she was my mother. At that age, I was presented with how precious life was, how short life was, how the fact that there were no guarantees. And I had to make a decision about who I wanted to be as a person, because the girl who had let her mum be, what makes me emotional. It's so annoying that it still makes me emotional even after all of this time. But it is what it is. But that girl who wasn't there for her mum, do I want to be that version, or do I want to be something else? So I suppose that was the first pivot,
Mm.
the
Mhm.
first letting go, and the first reinvention.
And was it like, how long after 19 did you have that realization or pivot? I'm imagining it wasn't right at 19, or was
It's
it?
pretty soon, actually,
Yeah,
because God, it just hurts so much to
yeah,
not have been able to communicate to her how much I loved her.
yeah, yeah.
So it was immediate. Like, what are you going to do with your life? Because at that point in time, I dropped out of school. I was working in pizza restaurants. I had no ambition. I did not think that I was capable of much. And it was Ibiza that changed my life. I was in working in a restaurant in Canterbury, and one of the chefs said to me, "I'm going to Ibiza for the summer. Do you want to come?" And I was like, "Yeah, all right." And I remember at the time my friends thinking, "You're not going to go." People like saying, "You are not going to go to Ibiza for the summer." Because up until this point, I'd been to like Lloret de Mar, like a really crappy place in Spain, on holiday once. That's the only time I'd been on a plane. So the idea that I was going to go and live in another country for 3 months, it was just, she's not going to do that. It's like, I am going to do that.
Because
And I
it's
did
too
do that.
luxurious, it's too extravagant, it's too expensive, it's too audacious, like, it's too what? Like, what upper belief were you shattering when you chose that?
It's too audacious. Somebody like you is never going to be able to go there. Like, I really didn't have a concept of what I was even going to be doing there. It was like, I'll find a job. I kind of thought maybe I will do some waitressing or something like that. But it was too audacious. Up until that point, the ambition level was, can I get a supervisor role at the pizza restaurant? And the answer to that question was no. You are you can't. You can interview, but we are never going to give you that level of responsibility.
But just he said that, the pizza restaurant said that to you, or that
Yeah.
was what you believed
Yeah,
for
no,
yourself?
No, that was it. I was going for promotions. It was like, "No, get back in your box. This is not for you."
To highlight that this feels like a very important lesson that I think you and I
Yeah,
have both really subscribed to, is that the bigger and more audacious your dreams, the more magnetism they have inside of them.
yeah,
And if you're just going for like the 0.2% increase of a life, it's like,
yeah.
nope, not
No,
worth your time, not worth nature's time. But like
exactly.
the big 2x, 3x, 10x up levels,
Yes,
like, yeah, that's worth your time. That's worth the inner work and the pain and heartbreak of
yes,
visiting the 19-year-old that wasn't at her mother's deathbed, or the
yeah,
part of you that lied and stole, and like all like
yeah.
that's worth the pain.
I mean, I don't think I told you about the lying and the stealing, but that is definitely in the history. Yeah,
I'm talking about my own lying and stealing, not yours.
yeah.
That was
We've
my
both been
lying.
there. So I went to Ibiza, and what I was presented with was there is a whole big wide world out there. And I was meeting people that were doing the summer in Ibiza and the winter in India. And I was like, oh my God,
That's a
I,
thing.
yeah, that's a thing. Like, I don't even need to go home if I don't want to. And again, on reflection, I know that part of me being away was me grieving, but also part of me being away was me hating to sound like a cliche, but finding out who the heck I was. And I say that loosely because as a 19, 20, I mean, I ended up being away for 4 years. So, you're still very young. You're still a child, really, at that age. But I was learning new skills. I was meeting new people. It's where I got my love for travel. Like I was with a gypsy or a nomad or whatever that is in my karmic past. Like that was it. New places, new people. And it's where I learned sales for the first time, like properly. And that really was the bedrock of my real career when I first came back to the UK.
What were you selling?
I was selling MBAs for Liverpool University in Amsterdam. So I was in Ibiza, then I was in Amsterdam, then I was in Thailand, and I went back to Amsterdam.
How did you learn it? Like, or what did you learn? Like for anyone who's like in sales, or
Mm.
everyone's entrepreneurs now, everyone's selling. Like what was the piece that were like, oh, I'm good at this, or what
I mean,
shifted?
actually, I wasn't good at it. And the reason that I wasn't good at it is because I was like reading from scripts and I hadn't had that experience. So I was sat next to people who had been to university, had gone through the thought process and had weighed up whether they were or whether they weren't. And so they were able to speak with a lot more truth and authenticity. My biggest lessons come in the reflection of why I wasn't good at that job. It didn't stop me. I then came back to the UK and worked in media sales. But what I learned was that you can give things a go and maybe they don't work out, and it's okay. You're not going to die. In fact, you have learned through the last 4 years of trying lots of things, picking lots of things up and putting lots of things down. You are very resilient, Suzy Ashworth. You can survive. You also know how to work. And whilst that might not have been quite right, I think there's probably something in here. And it's I think what traveling did, I had to become a new version of myself every time I stepped into a different country. And I got very comfortable with not necessarily reinventing myself, but expanding. Like new layers were unpeeling every single time I moved from place to place. And that was important. That continues to be important today.
Yeah, like new facets of the diamond
Mm,
unveiled. And then the other piece that I'm hearing is a level of emotional resilience, where it's like
yeah.
the failure doesn't feel like death anymore. If you do it enough times, the no just becomes like, okay, well, on to the next. What did I learn? I think I got that very much from acting. When I was on Broadway for 10 years, you're auditioning 4 or 5 times a week.
Mm,
Sometimes, when you're in between shows, sometimes 10 times a week. And so it's just like, no, 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 no. A
yeah.
thing that you poured your whole heart and soul into. You had to get your imagination into, like, I'm going to be this role. I am going to be this leading character. You have to believe that that is true in order to walk into the room and put your body on the altar of the audition.
Mm.
And then to hear no 10 times a week is devastating. And I think it was one of the most, like, brilliant training grounds for being an entrepreneur.
Oh god, yeah. 100%. I also think for me, with my mum's passing, I'd already had the biggest failure. Do you know what
Oof.
I mean?
Yeah.
Nothing was ever going to hurt me or impact me as much as feeling the impact of that failure of who I was at that time.
Uh,
I was the worst that I could ever be, and I genuinely feel with all of the failures that I have had, big failures that I've had since then in my life, even the failure of my marriage, again, when you have that as the reference point, it's like, this really hurts. This really hurts. But it doesn't hurt quite as much as that did. Hmm.
mm. Yeah, there's a level of, like, heartbreaking detachment that it gives you, and I like the word detachment. I know that word can have negative connotations, but
Mhm.
it's a really sacred superpower when it comes to manifesting is
Mhm.
detachment, where you have this simultaneity of a burning desire and, like, knowing that this thing is not gonna make you or break you. And I think that, the spiritual connection is the piece that's like, "All right, I know it can't make me because I already have my connection to the divine," but go
Yes.
through that level of pain and heartbreak is like, "Well, I know this thing can't break me because I've been through something infinitely greater, and I didn't fucking break. I'm
Yeah.
still here, and I'm stronger for it."
Do you know, I'm really curious. When you talk, because often when we talk about manifestation, it's that real embodiment and the being of and the behaving from and the feeling like and the tasting it and the hearing it. And the way that you describe the audition process, like that was one of your superpowers, being the complete embodiment of the part. How do you square that? And I don't know whether you talked the language of manifestation back when you were acting, but how do you square that piece now? Because I know that when I work with people and they're like, "Yeah, but I saw it and I felt it and I didn't get it." Like, what does that mean to you?
Mm,
When you get your stress hormones balanced with meditation and then you handle your minerals with upgraded formulas, you start to feel like a superhero. From upgraded magnesium and 8 hours sleep to upgraded tea and their world famous hair test, the team at Upgraded Formulas has created a full line of mineral based products proven to help you restore your balance, your energy, and your clarity. Upgrade your body and your bliss will follow. So go to upgradedformulas.com/Emily and you can use the code Emily for 20% off everything.
thank you for asking this question because even in the beginning of it, I feel like you've unlocked a new opportunity for me because I've never threaded really the imaginal part and the creativity part of my Broadway career.
Mhm.
I've never linked that to both my mastery and manifestation and the way that I teach it, and so that feels like an important piece. I just wanna put a pin in that for myself, of letting people thread that because I think most people can understand what it's like to be an actor, right? Where you
Yeah.
would just have to submerge yourself in that reality, and it's like, I think that acting is a spiritual practice because as an actor plays many roles, it's like a taste of what I believe God must feel like, right? Where this infinite
Mm.
thing gets to animate the infinite versions of reality and incarnation. So, like, being an
Mm.
actor is like a microcosm of what I imagine it's like to be God, where you get to try on many different
Mhm.
iterations. So that's one thing. As far as, like, I saw it, I smelled it, I tasted it. I was the role. I was
Mm.
Marilyn Monroe in the show, and then I
Mm.
didn't get it. I remember I don't know the answer, but I'm gonna share 2 things that feel relevant,
Mhm.
is that when I was acting, I didn't have this vocabulary. I
Yep.
wasn't meditating then. I knew a little bit about manifest, like, I watched The Secret and stuff like that. So I
Mhm.
remember when I would make my to-do list, I would write I would draw a line down the middle, and on one side, I would say Emily's to-do list, and on the other side, I would say nature's to-do list. And that felt very clear. I can go to the audition. I can go take tap class. I can take a voice lesson. I can print my resumes. I
Mhm.
can submit. Like, these are all things that 3D Emily can do. But in order to like win a Tony in an original Broadway show, like there's a lot of pieces then play parts of the universe has to play. And
Yeah.
so I think I got really clear on like, you show up for your side of the list and
Yeah.
be very clear about what your prayers are for what you want nature to orchestrate. And
Hmm.
I got to clear that one, I'm not in charge of both.
Sure.
Um, and so that part really helped. And then I think you just have to get like, I had to anchor in that belief that, okay, well, something better is on the way, even if it's full delusion,
Hmm.
right? Like, something better is on the way. That one wasn't meant for me, even if it's heartbreaking at the time.
Yeah.
But honestly, the one that hurt the most, and then I'm gonna stop talking about myself and ask you questions, was my book, because I had been manifesting my
Mm.
bestseller, and I've been working on it for so many years because I had my son in the middle of that. So I had
Yes.
a postpartum break, and so it was like 2 years all consuming of my life, and every meditation, every manifestation, I would see it, New
Yes.
York Times bestseller, smell it, taste it, touch it, Emily Fletcher, stress less, accomplish more, and then I didn't fucking get it. And I
Yeah.
sold enough books, like, I should have been number 5 as far as the books
Yeah.
that I sold, they just didn't choose me. And that one really hurt, like, more so than any Broadway show, because I'd
Yeah.
never tried to get on a Broadway show for 2 years. And my teacher, my manifestation teacher, said something to me. She said, "Emily, it's not about you." And I
Mm.
was like, "What?" She's like, "It's not about you. You're making it about you. You're
Mm.
sad you didn't get on the New York Times bestseller list, but 100,000 people have bought this book. Like, do you
Yeah.
wanna help them, or did you wanna be on the New York Times bestseller?" And I
Mm.
was like,
Mm.
"Both."
I really wanted the New York Times bestseller. Yeah, I get it. I get
Yeah.
it, and I
Mhm.
hear it. I think
How
that as
about
you
you?
yeah, as you were going through your process then, I was thinking about, and this is how I talk about manifestation in Infinite Receiving, and that is
In your book, Infinite Receiving, or in your
yeah,
program?
in my
Mm,
book,
mhm.
is that actually for me now, the journey of manifestation is the point, not the end destination. It's who I am becoming. So when you talk about that story, I'm like, ooh, I like this. I wasn't there at the time, but I'm really curious to hear your experience. When you talk about that story, or when I think about my biggest manifestations, when I think about the first million that I made in my business, there was a very distinct moment when I was in Colombia. I was with eight. 8 to 10 other multiple 7 figure, 8 figure entrepreneurs. We were going to do a cliff jump, which I was absolutely petrified about. And I made a whole big deal. I'm doing it, I'm not doing it, I'm doing it, I'm not doing it. Anyway, to cut a very long story short, I end up going over the side of this cliff. And in that moment of jumping off the cliff, I became a 7 figure entrepreneur. It was done. There was a cellular shift in my body, and I knew it in every single cell of my being. That was the second that I became a millionaire. That was it. Then all I had to do was take the action in alignment with that knowing. And I can honestly say, with that manifestation, I think because it was the first million, so therefore it just really stays with me. I did not doubt. I was no longer acting like from a place of wanting. It wasn't outside of me. It
Mhm.
was not outside. It was me. I wasn't in control of the timeline, but there was no doubt in my mind that I was going to create a 7 figure business. And so, what I'm curious about when I hear your story and all of the manifestations, on reflection, was it still from a place of wanting, or did you feel at some point like it is done?
I think looking at it now, there was certainly a piece of proving.
Mm.
So not even wanting, but proving. Because I really am down with wanting. Like, I like desire. I eroticize desire. I believe that desires are divinely
Yep.
inspired and that there's like pleasure in the yearning of it. And I think if I look back, there was a proving, like, I'm good enough, I'm worthy, I deserve respect because of this thing.
Yeah. So
And I was
outside of
yeah,
yourself and all
yeah,
on a very subtle frequency of not enoughness.
exactly,
So it's not a
exactly,
match.
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting because, like, Wall Street Journal, Publisher Weekly, USA Today, all those were fine. Didn't give a fuck about those. I don't care about
Hmm.
USA to be a bestseller. I wanted New York Times,
Yeah.
which it was status and prestige and ego improving.
Mm.
Yeah, like, it's subtle unworthiness.
Mm.
Mhm.
This will prove that I'm good enough.
Yep.
Frequency of lack.
Mhm. Yeah,
Mm.
thanks. Okay, thanks for coaching me. This is so I think I'd love to share that I have hired you to be my coach in the
Mhm.
past, and you're
Mhm.
really good at it, and I hired you based on when I was a guest on your podcast, and I
Mm.
felt you go into your, like, oracle, like, oracular wisdom and just, like, see me, even though you didn't really know me that well, you were
Mhm.
just like, "I see you," and I really appreciated that level of saying, and here we are, you're a guest on my podcast, you're still coaching me.
Oh,
So
well, we're just sharing.
I know,
You
I'm
know
just
that.
joking. You're really good at your job, and
Thank you.
you really helped me through a very intense portal, where I was going through, like, a massive death portal and really facing my shadow in a new way. I
Mm.
talked about shadow work, and I understood it as an intellectual concept, but I hadn't really done it. I hadn't been like I was like, "Oh, like, you put it in the shadow for a reason. Like, you put those things about yourself where you can't see them because it's not pretty." And
Yeah.
I didn't wanna see those parts of myself,
Yeah.
and so really celebrating you and that chapter and the level of, like, the gift that came through for me was like, oh, I saw pieces of myself that I deemed as unlovable, and I
Mm.
chose to love myself anyway,
Yeah.
and the wholeness that comes from that and, like, the worthiness that comes from that is sort of the antidote to that proving, right? Where
Yeah.
it's like, if I can see these parts of myself that are out of integrity and that lied and stole and all of that, and still be like, I still am worthy of love,
Yeah.
is the antidote to the, like, "Please love me outside, someone out here." And so that feels like a beautiful segue into this concept of, you're known for infinite receiving. This is the name of
Mhm.
your book. It's like what your whole body of work is about, like, how
Yeah.
big, how much, how infinitely can you receive, which is such a
Yeah.
beautiful phrase, like, the medicine is inside of the phrase. But when we were talking before this, you were saying, well, actually, it's the embracing of the pivot, and it's the being willing to let go of what you thought
Yes.
was the thing, allows you to infinitely receive, and I love how it connects to this story of, like, you jumping off the cliff, right? You
Yeah.
had to let go of that safety, let go of that land, let go of that version of you to have that cellular shift. So can you, like, just give us a window into what does a pivot mean to you, and what have you had to pivot from, and how does that help your infinite receiving?
Well, I mean, a pivot is the moment in time where you feel that nudge, that calling to change direction. And the changing of direction feels so freaking scary because changing direction means change. And what is the hardest thing for the majority of people to do is change. We are so attached to our identities and comfort, the comfort of knowing who we are, even when the version of ourselves that we know and accept, inverted commas, might be a shitty person, might be the person who is willing to accept the breadcrumbs because they don't think that they're worthy of anything more, the person who has lied, cheated. Even when the version of ourselves is not that nice, is not that great, is not serving us, we're still like, I'm going to hold on because this is what I know. And what I realized, and
Familiarity feels safer than the unknown, even if the
yeah,
unknown is danger.
1000%. And
Mhm.
so, in order to pivot, especially when you are looking to create big things and you're looking to receive on a whole other level, there is a radical releasing that is required. And that radical releasing is usually starts with identity. And I say usually, I think it's always identity. It's like the version of me that was holding on to that thing, whether it's a house, a car, a partner, a story. I have to choose to allow myself to step into another identity. a more expanded version of myself that has the wherewithal, the foresight, the courage, the boldness, the bravery to say, there is more. More is my birthright, and I am claiming it. And I think that over the years, I have done this many times. I did it with my divorce. I did it when I left media and started my entrepreneurial journey when my second child was born. Actually, I had my first insight, the calling was when my first child was born. And the second calling, louder, if you don't do it now, you're never going to do it, was after I had my second child. And it's always been scary. I think that I have an unfair advantage again because of my experience when I was 19 with my mother. It's like, even if you fuck this up royally, you're probably going to be okay.
Mhm.
You know,
Mhm.
I really subscribed to the saying that it's all going to be okay in the end. And if it's not okay, it's not the end. So buckle up,
Ooh.
baby.
Can you say more about that? Like, if it's not okay, it's not the end, meaning, like, you inherently believe in happy endings or it's not the end?
Yeah. I mean, when I was living in Mexico, so my family and we lived in Mexico for 16 months just before the pandemic. It was amazing. I would say that was a big part of my own spiritual awakening. And I did my first Bufo journey. And
Just
I
for those
set,
who don't know, if Bufo is 5-MeO-DMT, and, it's, like, can be a real visceral experience of God consciousness.
yeah.
Mhm.
And I think at that point I had done one ayahuasca journey. And in that ayahuasca journey, the main lesson was let go. And I was like, okay, fine.
Of what?
So there was this one point. So that question is just is perfect. So I'm in this. I decided 48 hours before I'm ready for ayahuasca. Like the next day, I'm on Facebook. There is an ayahuasca journey happening 50 meters down the road from me in a retreat center that I had not even been aware of that was there. I'm like, haven't really done that much prep, but okay, this is a sign. I'm going to take it. So I go and I do the ayahuasca journey, and it's with Colombian shamans, and the hostess is a Mexican witch, and it's all quite incredible. And I'm just in my experience, and they say, your experience is your experience. Don't get involved with anybody else. You might hear screaming, you might hear laughing. Just let everybody get on with their thing and you do your thing. I'm like, okay, fine, got it, tick. And I'm in the experience, and I'm breathing, I'm sounding, I'm toning, I'm just in my experience. And then this guy, I can feel him across the room. I can feel his energy. Like, I am so attracted to this guy. Now, bearing in mind, I'm on my mat, my eyes are closed, but he is there in my experience. It's really wild. Anyway, he can obviously feel me too. And he comes over to my mat and he just taps on my head. 1, 2, 3. And the fourth time he taps, it's like there is this whole energetic release. My whole entire body just lets go. And I'm shown, I am gripping on to my life like I am about to, and I have no idea that I'm even doing it.
Mm.
It's like, let go. That was my first ayahuasca journey. And clearly it stayed with me. And I'm like, right, okay. I'm on the plant medicine journey. Like, let's do this. And Bufo comes up probably about a year later, actually. And so I'm like, I'm going to do this. And I set the intention, which, I mean, in retrospect, it was good, but also in retrospect, I'm like, what were you thinking? I set the intention to meet all of the parts of me that I do not like. I mean,
In Bufo or on ayahuasca? In Bufo?
In Bufo.
Well, I mean, if you're gonna do it, I'd say, like, dripping in, like, infinite universal goddess love is a, pretty
But
safest place I can think of to do it, but still, celebrating your audacity.
yeah, yeah. I'm in the car driving to the beach with everybody that is gonna go on the journey. My eyes are already streaming. I'm looking out at the sunrise and I'm like, this is the most beautiful thing that I have ever seen in my whole entire life. Like the medicine is already just working its magic in and around my entire being. And then it is my turn, and my guide, I forget exactly how it's served, but I'm smoking. I don't know whether he blows it in or whether I just inhale, but I inhale and I'm
Mm.
like, I'm out. And they said that this journey lasts for about 10, 15 minutes. This journey lasted fucking lifetimes. And it took my request seriously. So I
Oh,
met all of the parts of me that I loathed, that I hated, that I was just completely and utterly disgusted by. And I fought that experience with every single cell of my being. I just wanted it to stop. And I remember there were two lucid moments in that journey where I was just like, this is madness. It was like my voice. This is madness. Like I'm never going to come back. And then I'm in it, and I'm just again. It's black. It's just disgusting, and I'm like, ugh, ugh, ugh. Second lucid moment. Let go, and I just let go, and I can see I'm being transported back to the beginning of time, back to Adam and Eve. The skies go pink. I can hear the trumpets playing, and I am just enveloped in more love and more bliss and just that I have ever experienced in my entire life. And I am, what brought me round was the fact that I had gone into gibberish, and I suddenly heard my own like self on the beach, like, and my mind was like, there are people around you, right?
similar.
you know, and it was like that was my moment of like, okay, back to reality.
Put it together. Can't look
Yeah,
silly while we're smoking
yeah.
toad.
So my whole journey was about 25 minutes, and where I got to was at the beginning. I was taken back to the beginning of time. It was also the end of my journey. At the beginning, at the end, there's only love, and everything else in the middle is just an illusion. So it's all going to be okay in the end. And if it's not okay, it's not the end.
I hope you take the transcription of this podcast and turn that into a chapter for your next book. Wow, what a story. What a ride. If it's not okay, it's not the end.
Yeah.
It's true. Infinite love at the beginning,
Yeah.
infinite love at the end, and
Yeah.
along the way, the lessons that our soul came here to learn.
Mhm.
Wow, Susie. Oh,
Yeah.
and so how would you translate that? Like, for someone who's not done ayahuasca, for someone who
Yeah.
has not done bufos, for someone who is an entrepreneur, for someone who is like, they can feel themselves tapping on the
Yeah.
upper ceiling of their limiting beliefs so that they are clinging
Mm.
on to this current reality, and they
Yeah.
know there's something more. They know there's a next level, but they don't know
Yeah.
how to let go.
Yeah.
Like, how would you invite them into the trusting themselves and nature
Mm.
enough to be willing to let go, to be willing to pivot so that they can be an infinite receiving?
Yeah. So I'm going to very briefly just give some science, and then I'm going to just pair it with some of my core beliefs. So I am a follower, avid follower, student of Dr. Joe Dispenza, and I just love the way that he educates us on the fact that we are only seeing 0.001% of our reality. When you look at the atom under the microscope, the densest part, which is what we experience as life, is 0.001%. That means 99.9999% of this universe is outside of our perception, and yet we're focused on the 0.001%. It's like there is a black dot in the middle of a white page, and all we're looking at is the black dot and saying, that is my reality. Understanding that that is not woo, but that is scientific fact from the quantum physics law book, is like, okay, I can get absolutely lost in the 0.001%, or I can start to tap into the other 99.999%. This is the work that you do. This is where we go when we really just allow ourselves to take our awareness from what we can see, feel, hear, and touch, and into our inner world, into the quantum realm, outside of the 3D, into the 4D, into the 5D. And so it's like, I'm going to take what I know to be factually true, and then I'm going to look to see how am I living my life. I understand that when I go into the quantum realm, where all of the other bits of information are, where infinite possibilities exist, that all I have to do is line myself up energetically, line my frequency up to any one of the infinite possibilities that I desire to tap into. A fundamental core belief is that I create my own reality. So if I get lost in victimhood, if I get lost in limiting beliefs, if I get lost in it's not fair, I'm like, I'm going against my core belief.
Mm,
I
mhm.
create my own reality. So it's remembering what it is that you believe in. It's less about trust when I think about the science, and it's more about choosing. I choose to be the type of human being who loves her fucking life. And if I want a life that I love, then I am going to have to choose it, and I'm going to have to claim it. And that means I'm going to have to do my work. That is the work. When I do the work, I open myself up to infinite abundance, infinite receiving, infinite love, infinite whatever. It's like, what do you want? You just get to claim it and choose it. Does that answer the question?
It sure does. And the thing that I want to bring it back to is what you said about that question that you asked yourself when you were 19, right? Who do I choose to be?
Yeah.
Right? I just made this choice that's causing me this much pain. So who
Mm.
do I choose to be now?
Yeah.
The other thing that it's bringing up is that, like, we're all working. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, we're all like, we don't get to skip the working phase of being a
Yeah.
human.
Mm.
And so the question is, like, do you wanna keep working on the rat wheel and the hamster wheel of the same problems, the same lessons, and the same frustrations? Or do you wanna do the work of aligning yourself to, like, the next layer of the video game,
Yeah.
to the next reality? But it's
Yeah.
gonna be work either way. It's just, are we
Yeah.
working in 99.9% in the unseen realm, or are we continuing to work in the 0.001% of the seen realm? And I feel
Yeah.
like most of reality is doing that rat wheel looping of working
Yeah.
in this realm and forgetting the game that it's actually 99.999% energetics.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's where infinite receiving lives. Yeah.
Mm, mhm, and the thing I just wanna say for any, like, skeptics or people like, "That's too woo," it's like, again, you're not absolved from doing the work. It's just
Yeah.
doing different work.
Yeah. And I
Mm,
suppose this goes back to the whole manifestation question. It's like
mm,
in the 3D realm is
mhm,
where the energy moves the slowest. So what happened when I jumped off the cliff is that in the quantum realm, I became a millionaire. It took a year and a half. It took a year and a half from that knowing that I am creating it to actually having made that money.
yeah.
And
Thank you for
so,
naming that. It wasn't like you jumped off the cliff and then looked at your bank account and surprise,
and
the
there was a
money
million.
was there. But
Yeah.
had you not done that, had you not had that cellular shift and did all the same actions, you may have blocked it just like I blocked the New York Times bestseller list. I did all the actions.
You can do all of the actions, but
Mm,
if energetically you're not a match for it, then you don't always get the result.
yeah.
And so, because I'd already become it, because I already knew that it was happening, I didn't even need the evidence. I didn't need the evidence, it was already done. So then it really is a game about who I'm becoming on a day-to-day basis. You
Mm.
talk about the events and the stages, and that never used to be me. I have become more and more and more that. It's like really allowing myself to express. The more creative I have become is a byproduct of the expansion of who I am. Can I allow myself to be even more? Can I allow myself to be too much? Oh, yeah, I can. And
You
there's and there's more.
I would like to say it's not too much for me. Bring it, Suzy. I can infinitely receive Suzy Ashworth.
I'm ready to go. Yeah.
Um, okay, so I would be remiss if I did not ask you, like, what role pleasure has played in your ability to pivot, in your ability to deal with the pain of letting go, and in your ability to be in your infinite receptivity.
Yeah. I feel like probably the last nearly 3 years now, pleasure has been such an important pleasure itself, and choosing pleasure was a pivot for me
Mm.
because
What did you have
up
to let go
until
of?
that it needed to always be hard work,
The pleasure
one.
was hard work?
Not pleasure was the life needed to be hard
Oh,
work.
yeah.
It needed to be hard, yeah. I needed to push. Also that I had to decide that pleasure was available to me. Because I had worked very hard in order to get to where I had got to, and I'm talking about this specifically from a relationship perspective. It was hard work being in the relationship. My senses had almost switched off. In fact, I would say that they had switched off. And
Like your actual physical pleasure receptivity.
mhm.
Mhm.
And so a part of me had to say, "No, I can't believe that this is gonna be my existence from now until I die.
Mhm.
So if you live in a world of infinite possibilities, let's see how turned on you can become, how much pleasure you can allow." And the last 3 years have been the last 2 years very specifically, I called my sexploration era. And the last year has been a more embodied version of that. But pleasure has been huge in this iteration of my identity. And sexually, sensually, but professionally, in my friendships, with my interactions with men on a platonic basis. And honestly, there's so much more. There is so much more. And I'm excited to be in partnership with the person because I feel like there's so much more is something that I want to explore in a committed relationship. So I am excited for my match to come in on that front too.
Me too. Like, I know the level of care and integrity and work and creativity that you've poured into this relationship that is on the way, and I'm
Mm,
so excited to meet this person and to feel
mm,
y'all's love. So good, and same.
thank you.
Deeply desirous of, like, a primary partnership where I get to dance in these realms
Yeah,
and share this
yeah,
lifetime of work and heartbreak and
yeah,
all of the agony that has carved out so much space for so much ecstasy.
yeah.
Um,
Yes.
mhm.
Yes. Yes, 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 yes.
And the thing I wanna just name explicitly is, like, we're in an amazing, mastermind together,
Yes.
and, when we meet every like, whatever, on Wednesday afternoons, and you hadn't been
Yeah.
there for, like, 8 months.
Yeah.
I'm like, "Suzy, where are you?" We're like, "Well, that's what my pole dancing class is." And
Yeah.
then you would send us videos of you on the pole and, like
Mm.
like an Olympic sport, like, both the athleticism and the
Yeah.
creativity and the
Yeah.
eroticism is so
Mm.
beautiful. But I just wanna name that, like, that's one flavor of pleasure that's
Yeah.
explicitly, like, sensual and erotic, but I also
Mhm.
feel bringing the pleasure into your stage performances,
Yeah.
into your workshops, into your outfits, into your
Yeah.
Facebook lives, you singing at the top of
Yeah.
them, and I imagine also in the way that you mother, And so for anyone that's like allergic to like erotic or sexual pleasure, just there's
Yes.
infinite outlets for ways that we can feel good. And talk about infinite. The thing I love about pleasure is that there is no ceiling.
There's no ceiling.
There is no
Yeah.
ceiling to your pleasure.
Yeah, 100%. And I feel like it's really important to say, of all the areas of my life, the area where I am most tested to really walk this walk is in my parenting journey. So I have a 14-year-old, a 12-year-old, and a 9-year-old. My 14-year-old, I can't believe I'm going to say that he won't ever hear this, but my 14-year-old, he threw a party at my house whilst I was away recently. He charged people to get in. There are over 100 kids here.
Can we get the what was the door rate? We
It
know
was
how much it
£5. It
Okay,
was 5.
100 is fine. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm like,
Apples
that
do not fall far from the tree.
well, this is my point, you know? There is the mother in me that wants to be like, "Are you insane?" And then there's the entrepreneur in me that's like, "Oh my God." And
Maybe
then there's a
maybe an
child
upcharge,
in me.
maybe a
Yeah.
VIP room.
Well, he did. So I said, "What did you learn?" He said, "I would charge people £10 to get in next time." I'm like, "Mm." And and then there's the 12-year-old in me that's thinking, not that I was charging to host house parties, but I did that at 12. And so all of the fears that I have, all of the places where I forget that we create our own reality and my response dictates the next place. And actually, with my kids, especially, our contract is our contract, and I'm not here to control his experience. All of the places where I find it so much easier, not easy, but so much easier to apply these lessons in business, in life, in friendship, I find so much harder to do in my relationships with my kids because I'm so attached.
To what?
So that to the role, to them, to the idea of their safety, to the idea that I can um, dictate the path. I'm having to constantly be unhooking and allowing, and things like I say in life and business feel so much easier than with them. They feel so precious to me, you know? And
Wow.
so I find that hard.
Interesting. Like you have the detachment in business and life because there's nothing that's gonna be more painful than what you experienced with your mom, but with your kids, if something were to happen, you ain't fucking detached because it would hurt so much worse. Mhm, mhm. And just a friendly reminder as your friend who loves you is that, like, it will always go back to love. We started from
Mm.
love, we will end
Yeah.
with love. If it's not there, then
Yes.
it's not done yet.
Mm.
And so when you find those hooks and you find those places of holding on, like, they will return to love too.
Mm.
And your soul contract is so
Mm.
bigger than this preteen and teen period, and you're doing great. You're
Oh, thank you.
you are
Thank
doing
you.
great. So, final question,
Mm.
like, why isn't everyone embracing the power of the pivot?
Because we get lost in the illusion that I have just so explicitly described with our kids. We get attached to the idea that it is going to be painful or dangerous or unsafe to let go. And I think what I really want to say to everybody is that your capacity to receive and allow and evolve and grow is so much bigger. It is infinite than what your tiny, and I mean that with the most love and respect that I can say, your tiny mind is allowing you to even imagine. So I invite you with every cell of my being to listen harder to the callings, to the nudge that is inviting you into a whole new level of infinite receiving.
Mm, mm. And this might be the answer to this final bonus question, but if you could install one code
Mhm,
into the entire species, like right
mhm,
now, wave a magic wand, boom,
mhm.
everybody has it. What would you love to install?
This which is a little tattoo that I have on my wrist. And that tattoo has the letters F plus A equals M, which means faith plus action equals miracles. And that is a code that I have been using since the birth of my son. So for the last 14 years, I have said that multiple times a day. And it has changed my life and my way of being. And it's quite simply the reminder to believe in self, believe in God, take action in alignment with those beliefs, and allow yourself to be wowed by the miracles that will present themselves.
And so it is, and so it is, and so
Uh-huh.
it is. Every single person who receives that offering and that prayer, receive it into their cells. The faith plus action equal miracles, and you are living proof of that, Suzy
Yeah.
Ashworth. I love you. Thank you for being a guest on Why Isn't Everyone Doing This? Sweet friends, if you enjoyed this outrageously audacious, fun, pleasure-filled, erotic, deep episode, then I invite you to screenshot it, post it on Instagram, tag me. I'm at Ziva Meditation. What's your Instagram, Suzy?
It is Suzy, SUZY_Ashworth.
Yeah, so tag Suzy. That's SUZ for you Americans. Y underscore Ashworth. Let us know what you learned. Let us know what your takeaways were. Like, let's get this media as medicine out to as many people who are ready to hear it. And Suzy, where can they find you? Where can people learn from you in addition to reading your amazing book?
I am hanging out on Instagram, so Suzy_Ashworth, and my website is suzyashworth.com.
It's a great website. It's so good.
Thank
All
you.
right. I love you, Suzy. Thank you. And thank you to everyone for joining us on today's episode of Why Isn't Everyone Doing This? I hope you have the most delicious, pleasure filled week where you step into even more receiving, that you're willing to pivot and let go of the things that are no longer serving. And we'll see you next week on Why Isn't Everyone Doing This?